They say to watch your language, right? You remember that as a kid? Watch your language. What if trust, we talk a lot about it, is actually a 4-letter word? That's what we're diving into today on Living Well Today. I'm Angela Moonan, your host and guide for the next 25, 30 minutes or so. And we're talking about trust, getting real, getting raw, getting risky. And trust is rare in our world today. And that's why I call it the new currency. I'm going to unpack, what does it really mean when we say, I trust you? Whether it's in business, in our personal lives, I trust you. And why the biggest trust we can find and build is the one with ourselves. So, trust, you look at it on paper, it's 5 letters. And I talk about the trust formula, right? But we're talking today about something a little deeper, something a little may touch a nerve. And when we reflect, when we say the real truth, when we expose the most vulnerable parts of ourselves and our psyche, our business, we tell the real story of how we're feeling. The world right now is big ups and big downs, and not a lot in between. You could go from right now laughing hilariously at something you're scrolling through to weeping because you just got some bad news or you see something else terribly tragic and sad. And in the middle of all of that, as we explore trust, whether it's in our business, in our relationships, as leaders, and we are all leaders because we impact ourselves and we impact our families and our neighbors and our communities, our schools, our churches. We have a role. So we are all leaders. Some people say, I'm not a leader. I answer to this person. I just stay quiet over in my corner of the room or cubicle or virtual home office. I barely leave my house anymore. How am I a leader? You are. Every one of us is. We're leading ourselves into a new way of being. We're leading the world into a new way of being simply by our own actions and through trust. So the myth of easy trust. Okay, so people kind of casually throw it around. Oh, I trust you. We say that we value it. We say that we believe it. We post about it. Do we live it? Do you live it? Do I live it? Because in living it, in being it, in embodying it, that's where the real work begins. And in the moments where it feels like you have no reason to trust something is when you are actually strengthening that muscle. Does that make sense? So when you anchor yourself in trust, that trust is the bridge. I use this example often. Did you ever see Raiders of the Lost Ark? Harrison Ford. Actually, it was part of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was the search for the Holy Grail, and Sean Connery enters as his dad. He calls him Junior, and his dad is on the other side. His dad needs his help, and Junior is. Harrison Ford's character gets to the edge, and there's no bridge between him and the other side. But he's got to go. He's got to go. He knows his dad is there, and he knows that he's being chased. How does he get there? He has to trust. He has to have faith. And he puts his foot out. There's nothing there. He puts his foot out, and the bridge appears. That's trust. And trust and faith often are, they're so close together, and it's difficult to have one without the other. They're intrinsically tied to one another. Let's break down trust. And here are some of the words that come up for me that are 4-letter words. See if any of these resonate with you. And reflect on, how do they show up in your work? How do they show up in your life, in your day-to-day, in your conversations from your besties to, what you might sometimes see as your arch enemies. Love, that's the first four-letter word that comes to mind. Because where there is love, there's intrinsically trust. You can't really have love without. Trust is love in action. Risk, that's a four-letter word. You can't trust without taking some leap of faith, without taking some risks. Fear. Indiana is standing at that edge, and he doesn't know if he puts his foot out, if he's going to pummel to his fall to his death, or whether something will be there to support him. Fear. Trust tests it every day. Real. There's a four-letter word for you. Real. Trust asks us to get real, to look in the mirror, to face those fears, to question our beliefs that maybe have been so ingrained, we take them on faith and never question them. I believe that. And you get so righteous and so firm in your stance and so dug in, you're not free, you see. When you dig in and you're so right and you're so sure, that isn't freedom. Because freedom requires you to continuously change and evolve. Freedom, the essence of freedom, is evolving. And so if you're so stuck and fit into this puzzle of yourself, of how you see the world and how you see your enemies and how you see your friends, how you carry yourself as a leader and as a follower, because we can do both. We don't always just wear the one hat, right? So in any role that you are and show up as, at the end of the day, you peel all of that away and you take the mask off. And we've talked about the mask, showing up and dropping the mask of it all. That's real. Trust makes us real. It's visceral. It's visceral. It's moving forward with a sense of safety, giving yourself the safety. My home has been for sale for a very long time, and I've had a couple of contracts, and some financing fell through for the first group, and then another group, the woman was going through a divorce, and she was very wish-washy, and it was more than she'd ever invested in a home before, and she started throwing all these contingencies in the final negotiations, and it backed me up. I didn't trust her to be her word. And I didn't want the contract to fall out again and have to take the house off the market, etc. So I actually had to make some discernments, and I had to trust my own gut instinct. And now I'm under contract with the perfect buyer. They're perfect for this home. Absolutely perfect for this home. So it couldn't be more ideal in terms of what it does for them and props them up, and what it does for me and props me up, and what it does for the home. Like, this home really loves being shared, and these folks want to use it as a second home and Airbnb it like I did. And I know that this house, I know Mariposa loves that. And I trusted my own gut on the last contract, as tempting as it was. I wasn't putting my foot out and feeling that solidity, that I had seen too much vacillation and too much change up, too much. She was not in concert with herself. She was not in alignment with buying this house. And I sensed that. I couldn't articulate it, but on the third go round, when she started throwing in the contingencies and things that a home contingency, and she didn't even have that in the first two offers. It was kind of bizarre. But then afterwards, her and I actually had a conversation. We came to terms with it, and I better understood where she was coming from, because I didn't know she was going through a divorce. I didn't know, right? Those things that you don't know about the buyers because you don't meet them. And you're going through these go-betweens, your broker, their broker, if they're out of state or what, whatever. So that's an example of me trusting my gut and then and afterwards questioning. Have you ever done that, where you did trust your gut and you move forward with that, in that trust, and then immediately the buyer's remorse syndrome, did I make the right choice? Maybe I should have taken it, but all those blah, 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 right? And that's natural. Ultimately, my trust has demonstrated to me that I was in alignment with my own intuition and my own discernment. Think about times where that may have happened to you. Maybe in your business. Should I hire this person or should I hire that person? And trusting that voice, trusting that gut feeling, actually, in a sense, getting out of your head and dropping down into your body, into your heart, into your gut, which has been demonstrated is another brain, right? We have our brain in our head, in our skull, and then we have our brain in our gut. That's another one, right? The biome, the microbiome in the gut is a brain, and our heart actually has that intellect as well. And so when you are going through fear, when you are going through risk, and you are evaluating, your brain in your head is not the only place to do a self-check, right? And in fact, can sometimes we get caught very easily in the loop in the brain, because in your head, because that brain driven with ego is all about safety, always about safety. It will always default to the safety mode. So that doesn't help when you're trying to put your foot out and there's no bridge there. There's no necessary evidence or demonstration that you should trust. And yet, if you can drop out of your brain up here and drop into your heart and your gut and do a check there and reframe it, calm yourself down, take a deep breath, and make the decision. Because that decision is the freedom. You get to decide. And you always have choice. You always have choice of how you view something. So we always say trust is earned. So many people say trust is earned. It's earned. In other words, I meet you as a stranger and you have zero in the trust bank with me. That's not the way I approach it. Maybe some people do. I approach it with, you have 100% trust. Doesn't mean I'm going to get in your vehicle with you if I've never met you before, but I give you the benefit of the doubt that you come to me with good intention. And then I use my discernment and my compasses to determine, do I move forward or do I not? It's an embodiment, you see. It's not an earned thing. I don't have to prove myself worthy of your trust. I show up in trust so that you can trust me. That's the way it works. And I garner trust very quickly, typically with people, with others. And when I don't, it is, if I don't, it is because I am vacillating myself in my own trust. And I'm questioning my worth in being in that conversation. I'm trusting whether or not, or I'm questioning, I should say, my own worth, my own value, my own voice. So when I vacillate, what's going to happen? Your clients, when you vacillate, clients, anyone who comes into your energetic circle is going to vacillate as well, more than likely. If not immediately, then soon. It's energetics. You can't avoid it. So I don't wait for someone to deserve my trust. I let them choose that. And it's because I'm in choice. I'm making a decision. And that decision changes everything. And that's why I say trust is the new currency. For business owners in particular, are you in alignment? You say you care about the customer. Do you show up in caring? Are you intentionally mindful of that? Are you mindful of your own voice? And is it in balance? Your head and heart. Are you in balance in that place? Trust, is it fragile? I suppose it can appear to be. I feel more like trust is forged. It's forged through resilience. It's forged through commitment. It's forged through humility. It's forged through all those 4-letter words I mentioned. What other, I'd be curious to see in the comments if you think of other 4-letter words around trust. Hope, right? What would be another 4-letter word that reframing trust? Share it in the comments. So in the small choices, we always talk about small choices, small decisions, big impact, which is so, so true. Now, today, more than ever, one of the universal principles of cause and effect, that has shrunk, meaning if there was ever a gap in linear time of action, reaction, that gap has collapsed so that everything's traveling so quickly right now that pace of energetics is that it's instantaneous. So I say trust, I'm in trust. If I feel it, I'm there. There is no delay. And then the feedback I get is immediate. It's immediate. And you maybe used to have this more malleability to it. It doesn't now. It's like fast. Super fast. In the small choices, in honest words, in how we show up when no one's watching, And I think anyone who's testing these waters and stretching themselves and, we're being human, we're not going to shed that. Our experience here is, in fact, to be human and to be visceral and to have these lessons and learn these lessons. So we're going to be human. Are we a human being in trust? In trust. And how does that show up? What does that look like? What does it feel like? What are the words? What are the words? When you feel really solid on your feet, the decisions you make are often heavily influenced by the words you choose to describe how you're feeling, to describe a situation you're in. Are you the victim? Are you the victor? Are you empowering or using disempowering language? And I'd encourage you to go look at some of the words of the week. This word of the week, this week, is trust. And the 4-letter words that allow it to be: fear, testing our trust; risk, taking that step anyway, and you can't trust without taking some measure of risk. Trust is love in action, and real. Trust makes us real. So all of those 4-letter, and whatever other 4-letter words you come up with, our word of the week this week is trust. And I would encourage you to go check out on my YouTube channel. There's a video that I did, Words Matter, and the frequency and the energy that words carry and what they do to your cellular chemistry. There's this narrative, this monologue that's running, and sometimes it's dialogue, but monologue running all the time underneath. And it's shaped and shifted. I know for me, for example, and this is why doing this with you each week is so helpful for me as well, because it's a laboratory, you see. And I happen to be an oral thinker, meaning I make sense of and I feel into the sound when I hear the sound of my voice and the words that I choose. And probably that is rooted in that I am a singer from 4 years old on, whatever it was, that singing and music and vibration and sound help me decide They're a compass, a very, very vitally important one for me. And so when I say words matter, you don't have to be an oral thinker in order for words to matter. But if you are, then it's even more all important for you to understand the impact of the words you use, the stories you tell, and how that shapes your outcomes. Because it has a direct, it not only creates it, it sustains it or shifts it or explodes it, implodes it, whatever it might be. It has direct impact in positively and potentially not so helpfully. They say to watch your language. When it comes to trust, it is a 4-letter word. It's all of those things baked into it. And when we look at our language and the words we're choosing, be mindful of those words, be intentional with your words, and ultimately be your word. If you say you want more trust in your life, you want to trust people more, you want to trust the process, you want to trust even when there isn't evidence to, you have to begin to accept those 4-letter words and live them, embody them. Yeah? Does that make sense? Does that, even beyond making sense, how does that feel? How does it feel to you? Does it feel scary? Possibly. Does it feel unsure? I'm certain of that. I'm certain of the uncertainty. But you shear it up layer by layer, deeper and deeper with practice. It's like anything, you know? Someone said to me yesterday, I don't prefer conflict. As a person, I don't like conflict. Some people thrive in it. And this person, I think, does thrive in it. And I don't. In fact, at times, I will do everything I can to avoid conflict. I'll just whoop, whoop, zip it up and go and I'll transmute it myself, alchemize it, meaning I'll let it settle with me. I'll do my own discernments. I'll have my own inner conversations and I'll settle it with me as opposed to try and take that person on. It's just, I wasn't always that way, but as I have gotten older and I'm going to the 60-year mark here in a few years. I mean, I'm closer to 60 than I am to 50 at this point. And I've learned a thing or two about conflict. I've had major times of, I've had a divorce. I've had major times of conflict. I've had conflict with my daughter. I've had conflict with my mother, my brother, clients. Boy, clients. And through that, I suppose, as I've deepened my trust, as I've looked at these 4-letter words, risk and fear and love, hope, all of those things, I've softened in that, wanting to be mighty, the mightiness of it all and the arm wrestling. And I've found beauty in that place. I have found it may not feel great at the time, but again, that's part of being human. There's conflict when you are not in alignment with that person or that scenario. So it doesn't feel good. You only feel the best when you're aligned. And when I say aligned, your words, your thoughts, your vibration, your energy, they're all lined up. They all match. They're in the same place at the same time, and it feels good. And you know when that is? When you see a baby for the first time, or you see those videos of babies just with that infectious laughter giggle that they get when they're really little and they see a dog and they laugh at the dog. And I mean, we see them all the time, right? That's alignment with just pure ease, laughter, joy, satisfaction in the moment. That's alignment. So when you don't feel those things, there's something not right. You're out of sync in one of those areas. And so what I've found is as I have tuned into what brings those things to me or creates those things for me, the ease, the laughter, the satisfaction, is that I don't want to arm wrestle. I don't, because my alignment is too valuable to me. Doesn't mean that I don't ever get taken out of it. That's what I mean. There wouldn't be conflict if I wasn't getting taken out of it and something wasn't triggering something in me or reflecting back to me. But it's every time when we have conflict, it's a gift. It's a lesson to trust what we're learning in that moment. What is this teaching me? What am I? Because it has nothing, I promise you, my dear, dear friends, it has nothing to do with the other person. I know you're going to say that's not possible. This person is this and this and this, and I was having a great day, and then my teenager came in and disrupted the whole thing, or, pooped all over it, whatever it is. Or I just got a thing this morning. I got a huge tax bill that I hadn't anticipated. Massive. Now I was flying high. I did a late night call last night with my coach from California. I was flying high, and I woke up this morning to an email from my accounting firm in Syracuse saying, surprise, we were way off and you owe, like, we're talking 5 figures. Not fun. So, and then I want to read, I closed out my email. If I could read to you what my mentor, she sent me this. I'm going to read this to you. Dear Angela, thank you very much for the payment. I'm loving that you're making your house deal and detox is moving out of your body. Because I got this huge rash. They didn't know if it was shingles. They didn't know. Unbelievable this last week and a half. And I'm showing up anyway. I'm showing up in trust that, if you see these rashes on my face that I've tried to cover up a little bit because it was like, who wants to see that? that I'm enough just the way I am. That's trust, right? With the shingles and all. And detox is moving out of your body. Yeah, that's when this stuff comes up, hives, anything that appears on the body, that's always detoxification. It's coming out and up so it can get released. It doesn't feel so good, but it's necessary and it's okay. And trusting the process and trusting your body to take care of you in that process. All the world is your choice, and it's a mighty place to stand. Love, Vicki. And that was at 11:53 a.m. And then at 11:56, I emailed her at the same time she was emailing me. And she's 3 hours behind me on California time. So that's the universe laughing. Then she goes, just as I sent you an email, you sent me an email and your internal review news. Because IRS and Internal Revenue Service is always internal review service. It's a disclosure. It's a coming to terms in a new relationship with your money. This is an indication that you get to move into new relations with money. It loves you. It works for you. You are safe and supported. That's trust. And so I giggled, which is always a sign for me when we're giggling. That's a release too. For me, when I'm giggling, I know I'm in alignment and I'm lightening up. Lightness of being. And so in the face of what could be devastating, and I had a good cry. I'm not going to say that I didn't. I had a good cry this morning. But I'm lighter now because I've come back into alignment, because I do not serve myself if I am out of it. How am I more resourceful to resolve this 5-figure deal with the IRS? How am I more resourceful if I'm boo-hooing in the corner or collapsing, or I'm not? It's showing me an opportunity. It's a gift and showing me an opportunity to learn to trust more deeply that I'm safe and supported, that all is well, all will always work out, because it always does. And now you see, through that trust, I put my foot out on the bridge that doesn't visibly seem to be there, and yet it will be for me. That's taking risk, 4-letter word, facing the fear, 4-letter word, and leading with love, 4-letter word. That's trust. Now tell me, that practice that I just went through for myself, it was a decision, doesn't make the deal with the IRS not real. It's real. It's there. It doesn't disappear it. That's not the point. It reframes it in a way so that I am my most resourceful to resolve it. Period. End of story. That's it. And the quicker I resolve it, the faster I move through it. And who doesn't want to do that? Get to the other side of it. Put your foot out and walk across the bridge, and it will be there for you. And that's trust. So thank you to all of you on Instagram who've joined. I love it, love it. Thank you. Ciao, ciao. Oh, ciao, from Perugia. Oh, I was just looking at real estate last night. I'm looking all over Italy. My grandfather is from Lipari, which is this beautiful part of the archipelago islands off of Sicily. And my friend Trina is in Taormina. And so I'm looking at Taormina. I have friends over in the Puglia region. I have friends in Umbria, Viterbo, Montepulciano. And I am buffing up on my Italian with my tutor, Mari, who is from Bari. Mari is from Bari. And I feel this real calling to Italia. And Mustia, you just confirmed. Ciao, ciao. So trust. It can be a 4-letter word in lots of ways. And I encourage you to examine it, to feel into it, to embody trust, not to tell yourself I have to earn it in some way. I have to prove myself in some way, in my business, with my friends, with my partner. You are proof enough. You are here. You are divine. You are divinity expressing. You are co-creating your experience. Just like who wants to co-create with the IRS? Nobody, right? Nobody. But yet here I am. And this is an ongoing thing for me. And I think, it's one of the great lessons in this lifetime for me is trust. It's the greatest lesson. And so I will always lead from this place of beauty. I will always share the beauty of the situation with you because that is my MO. It's my own modus operandi, you see. And each of us have a different MO. And I can't tell you what that is. What I can assure you is that in every area of your business and life, that trust leads the way. Trust opens the doors. Trust builds the bridges. And then you have to have the courage to walk them and to be open to them and to honor the fact that your path is your path, and to compare it to anyone else's is futile. We get to share, you see. We get to share in everyone's path because everyone's a reflection of us and we're a reflection of them. And if you truly do believe that we come from one source, then we are one. So if someone else is benefiting, if someone else is prospering, if someone else is growing, expanding, getting financial wealth, getting attention, getting regard, whatever it is, share in that, honor that, and see that in yourself, that you are a part of that. Even though it feels like you're separate at times, that's a decision too. Make a decision that you are sharing in that prosperity. And my promise to you is that when you do, when you trust in that prosperity for yourself, when you trust that you are enough, that your business is enough, that your team is enough, that you are enough, then trust shows up and opportunity shows up and the next decision and the next decision and the next decision. And that is how you create the life that brings you ease, joy, satisfaction, faith, all those things. So much love to you. And I'm wishing you all the 4-letter words, both the ones that are good and maybe sometimes feel a little not so good, but all of them are here to serve us. And that, in essence, is trust. Bye for now. And thank you all. Go subscribe on my YouTube channel, will you? And check out some of those words of the week because they're fun, and I try to keep them lighthearted in a minute to 2 minutes tops so that you can get a quick bite of motivation or inspiration or reflection of the beautiful, beautiful being that you are. God bless.